And welcome to another Jeff Dubay show. It is a Tuesday. That makes it a Twins Tuesday. We are coming to you live from Floyd's Bar in Victoria, Minnesota. Obviously Minnesota. Jesus Christ. You want the zip code too? I'm sometimes a little too thorough in the information that I provide at the beginning of the show. We're at Floyd's in Victoria. For those of you not familiar with Floyd's and or Victoria, all you got to do is take Highway 5 west out of Eden Prairie, and it's what, 3 miles? I think it's like 3 miles. You go through Eden Prairie, Chanhassen, and then you're in Victoria. And Victoria is it's got one intersection. It's got one light. It's got one intersection, and basically, Floyd's is on one of the corners, so you can't miss it. I mean, it's right there. So if you miss it, you're an idiot. This is our third week at Floyd's, and this is the second time we've been able to be outside. I tell you what, as the summer progresses and the weather improves, not that it's bad out. What's it, mid-60s, kind of overcast right now. As the summer progresses, I mean, this is going to be the place to be. It's a fantastic patio out here. They got great deals, just fantastic specials, fantastic food. I've had something different each week, and each week has been fantastic. I'm already just completely hooked on the onion petals. But anyway, let's get to the matter at hand. It is a Twins Tuesday. Jeff Dubay, Brandon-Warne, Ted Schwetzler to talk about the Minnesota Twins, who at the time of the taping of this show are 8-11, which when you consider the fact they started 1-6, lost 40% of their starting rotation before the season was a week old. To be at 8-11, we're not in the moral victory business here, but I mean, I tell you what, I was feeling awfully bad for Paul Molitor. It's not a way to start your managerial career. You go on the road, you play a couple of good teams. You're 1-6. And you're at home playing the American League champions. Your starting rotation was giving you no innings. Your bullpen, because of that, had been really exposed in places. So for it to rebound to the point that it has, I tell you what, 8-11 at this point, guys, it could be a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, and I think you look at the schedule that's coming up here, and the difficulty that they could give them with the tough opponents here coming up. I mean, to be near 500 and within shouting distance of 500 at this point, that's definitely good.
I think too, you were in a situation a year ago where we were at 12-11 through this point, or I think maybe a week or so into the season, farther into the season, but the overwhelming feeling there was that you were going to regress. And I think here you're seeing a situation where you should probably be in a worse spot and you see things getting better or the potential to get better.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about how everything starts with starting pitching in baseball. So we typically start the show talking about starting pitching. And there have been a few guys who have done a nice job of helping keep this thing afloat. Malone got knocked around a little bit yesterday. Now, Malone's one of these guys who doesn't have a big margin for error. I mean, he's not going to go out there and blow people away. He's got to hit his spots. He's got to change speeds. He's got to change the hitter's eye. He's got to keep people off balance, and he's got to work ahead. And he worked behind. Yesterday he worked behind against a team that's going to kill you, not to mention the right-handed bats in that line. I'm talking about Detroit. So Malone struggled a bit yesterday, but nonetheless, I look at Malone, Pelfrey, and Gibson as 3 guys who have really helped kind of keep this thing afloat for the first couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks of the season, because they've given some innings, and they've given just. I'm not saying these guys are lights out. I'm not saying anybody's going to be in the Cy Young voting here at the end of the year, but these 3 guys have just lent an air of normalcy to the season to this point, rather than the chaos that happens when a pitcher's done in the 3rd inning on a nightly basis.
And it's funny you have to include Pelfrey in that contingent right now, because coming out of spring training, he was the odd man out. I mean, he was sent to the pen. He was kind of the cast-off. He threw his little tantrum.
Yes,
Things happened with Santana, and here we are. But, I'm maybe more worried about Pelfrey than the other 2. Not maybe, I am more worried about Pelfrey than the other 2. I don't think what he's doing is sustainable. I mean, his FIP is just, it's off the charts compared to where his ERA is at.
Tell people what FIP is. Not everybody knows.
Fielding independent pitching. I mean, he's pitching at a mark of roughly a 6.0 ERA, and he's pitching at an ERA of 2.6. So essentially what that means is that the Twins' defense is keeping him in a positive situation right now. And a team that isn't really built on defensive acumen, eventually that's going to come back down to earth. The other guy, though, that has been impressive, even though the numbers aren't necessarily there. Phil Hughes has actually been better this year than he was last year through this point.
He's had some bad matchups. I mean, he's not against three aces.
And he just hasn't gotten any support. His run support has been brutal.
He's gone against three aces. He's gone against King Felix. He's gone against Sale, and he's gone against Price. Would he go against Price?
David Price.
That ain't easy.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Trevor May yet either, and he's probably been the most impressive of the lot, if you ask me. And sounds like he's about ready to make his next start, assuming that everything lines up schedule-wise. But he came out of yesterday's throwing session feeling pretty good, and hopefully he will be able to not only make the next start, but a continued bunch of starts, because I think he's earned that right now. The issue is obviously with options and with where he's at on the totem pole as not only the odd man out, but the odd man out behind Pelfrey, who was the odd man out, probably puts him at a disadvantage when it comes time to activate Nolasco, which a decision is coming on that at the end of the week. But if Nolasco needs another start, you're looking at probably another start down in the minors. You're looking at probably 2 more starts for May. At the same time, the other difficult thing here is that Chris Sale is the opposing pitcher next time Trevor May goes out. So, you're obviously not going to evaluate him based on the opponent. But if he can hold his own against Chris Sale, that puts forward a pretty good message, and hopefully will be something they can consider moving forward, as if they're going to move Pelfrey to the bullpen or have to make a move someplace else.
And I think that too, the Twins are getting to that point in the season where now we've gotten through April, they've gone through the AL Central. They've stacked up relatively close to 500. They've beaten some teams. They haven't beaten other teams. I mean, it'd be nice to snag 2 or 3 from the Tigers here. I don't think that's going to happen. But regardless, they're at a situation where now, instead of having this quantity of options that they do really on the mound, they need to start progressing towards which guys are the quality guys. And I think that's where Molitor is going to be faced with some tough decisions. The first of which is who do you knock out when you bring back Nolasco? Who do you knock out if Alex Meyer strings together 2 or 3 or 4 good starts? Yeah, he's thrown today. Taylor Rogers has been lights out for Rochester. If you want to bring a guy like that up, what do you do with Trevor May? I think that starts to then become part of the discussion, because now you have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 even guys that are pitching right around that 4, 5, 6 ERA mark. You have to start asking yourselves, okay, which guys are going to give us the best chance each and every night to be lights out? And I think that's something he's going to have to start deciding on.
We are live at Floyd's in Victoria. I'd like to also mention the fact that we are proudly sponsored by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the Jeff Dubay Show. That's not just for Twins Tuesdays, that's also for Wild Wednesdays and whatever other day of the week we decide to get up and do a show. Thanks to Coors Light for being the official beer sponsor of the program. I want to get back to Trevor May for a minute, because what I've been really impressed with, I mean, we're talking about, kind of a young, somewhat raw, power arm, right-handed power arm. And for me, it's pretty impressive how polished his changeup is. I mean, it's been a hell of an out pitch. I mean, it's got all kinds of sink on it. It disappears. We can talk all we want about, you got to have that spread between your fastball and your changeup. If you're throwing, I mean, their pitchers are out there throwing 88 mile an hour fastballs and 65 mile an hour changeup, and they get by with it. 88 starts looking reasonably formidable when you're changing it up to the high 60s. But guy like May, who's pumping it up 93, 95, and is throwing the changeup. It looks like it's typically in the 83 mile an hour range, 83, 84 mile an hour range. But it disappears. I mean, it gets a few feet out from the plate, and all of a sudden it's gone. It just dives. It's a great pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a good breaking ball too. But the changeup, I think, is his go-to pitch when he needs a strikeout, and he's been great at locating it. That's been the biggest thing so far this season for him. And we mentioned this last night at the ballpark to assistant GM Rob Anthony is what's different about him, and it's pitching with a confidence that if he gets into trouble, he can get out of it because of his location. And this is a guy who walked over 4 batters per 9 in the minors and did so again last year in his cup of coffee with the Twins. Now he's got 1 unintentional walk through like 14, 15 innings in the big league. So there's obviously something at play that's different with him, whether it's execution, whether it's mechanics. And the Twins declined to say much more than they just think he's more confident, which is, I think, is kind of a coverall. Not to tip someone's hand, maybe specifically, But I think you're seeing a revitalized pitcher and the guy the Twins hoped they were getting when they traded Ben Revere for him.
And I saw you make that comment, too, today on Twitter about the four walk ratio or walks per 9.
Right, yeah.
That he had, previously, and he's down, obviously a small sample size, but he's down so far from that. And I guess the thing it kind of brought to mind, too, is maybe do the Twins now have a blueprint for success? Because there's another guy that we just said is throwing tonight that can't throw strikes. His name's Alex Meyer. And his last start, he looked lights out. If he could do that again, 2-3 more starts in the minors, have they maybe figured out a plan of action with Trevor May that they can implement with Alex Meyer to say, hey, let's stop letting him walk guys in AAA and let's see what there is there?
I don't think you can ignore the fact that Terry Ryan was there to watch in the front
That's
row
huge.
at Alex Meyer's last start, too. So they obviously have a plan and want to move him forward quickly. So whatever they're going to try to do with him, I think is going to come more quickly than people think.
Yeah, I think you can kind of get caught up in putting too much stock in his first 2 starts being bad. But I think, just like you just said, conversely, if he puts together another good start tonight, that may be all it takes, or maybe a third straight start, whatever it is.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is obviously Lavelle E. Neal had the other day that the Twins were in the market for bullpen help, which it kind of boggles my brain. But maybe they'll get that internally, and maybe Meyer is one of the chips that falls.
Hopefully they get that internally.
I mean,
if we're trying to move pieces to get bullpen help when you have a Rochester bullpen that's pitched this well this far, we're probably not executing real well down there.
Well, ultimately, I think they'd still like to get Pelfrey out there.
I agree.
I
hope they do. I hope
have
they do.
to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see him moved or jettisoned or whatever before they do that.
Yeah,
he's going to be a good reliever. I've been on record for a year.
I agree. And then don't be surprised if 94, 95 turns into 96, 97. I mean,
then you sign him again and you bring him back.
And I think he touched that actually. Even
starter
starting,
last year,
I think this year I thought I saw Berardino have him at 95, 96 one game.
Yes,
so
that's accurate.
I mean, if you've got a right-hander coming out of the pen who's got some command, which he does, and he's throwing 96, 97, I mean, that could be a lights-out setup, man.
We never see that here.
That could be somebody that could supersede Casey Fiend as an eighth-inning guy. I mean, that's if you've got that, if you've got a 90, I mean, that's almost the Jesse Crane like when he in his heyday when he was setting up here, when he was an eighth-inning guy here. Jesse,
maybe better than that.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, he was pretty damn good in his day.
And not to harp on that point too long about Pelfrey going to the pen, but I know one of his biggest contentions that he brought up, or that was brought up when he was demoted, is that it's a demotion from the rotation to the pen. But hey, if you're in that situation, what would you rather be doing? Hucking it up there and getting shelled when you're starting, or go to a bullpen role and exceed and be talked in that conversation of Jesse Crane or Pat Neshek last year, whoever you want to throw it to. If that's his forte, the Twins are best served to use it.
Well, and also, I mean, your sabermetrics aside, I think he's doing a good enough job as a starter right now that they need him there for the moment. They need him there for the moment, and they're going to keep him there for the moment. Maybe if Meyer goes lights out, and then they got to find a spot for him, or Nolasco is somebody that they find the need to promote. That makes it a little easier. But right now they do. What Pelfrey's given him as a starter has been very valuable. It's been necessary. It's been timely. And boy, Patrick Fisher runs like a girl. By the way, that's just a little. That's very inside, but the sales guy for the show. He just. Do you guys watch Modern Family?
Yeah, a little bit.
Eric Stone, everyone like Eric Stone Street, the heavyset guy.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Have you seen him in the show when he runs? He's very effeminate.
He plays it up real well.
Yeah, he did. Hey, very, very well. I follow him on Twitter. He's hilarious in real life too. Big Kansas State fan. But Patrick Disher just did himself no favor. I hope no female saw that. He just jogged through the patio. Very effeminate. Not that there's anything wrong with that. To each his own. But my God, Patrick Disher, you might want to rethink your gait in the future. So anyway, back to what we're saying. I don't care about FIP, to be honest with you. What I care is that the guy started 4 games. He's got an ERA of 2.6, and he's given him innings, and he's won a couple games. So I don't think they're. I think they want him in the bullpen just because they need something out there, but they're not in a hurry. yeah, I mean, I don't. They're getting. They need him in the rotation at the moment. Again, Nolasco and Meyer could change that.
Well,
those are the wild cards that could change that situation.
The biggest thing is how fast it can unravel. I mean, we're talking about just 3 starts. So if Pelfrey goes out and throws just a flat effort tonight here, that's starting here pretty quick. If he's out, his flat tonight and then goes out in 5 days and stinks again, all of a sudden you got a 5 ERA, and then it's the kind of everybody's crowing about how poor he's been too. So you can't get too tied up in one thing or another right now because everything's just so fluid at this point in the season. I mean, Trevor Plouffe started out poorly and now he's just cruising again. So you can't get too wound up with early season stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's where you go back to that quantity thing, and you want to have the quantity number of pitchers to make up for the fact when you don't have quality. If you have a bunch of options, there's going to be somebody there when you need it to fill in. Look at Nolasco before he was hurt. There's nothing to say he's going to come back and be lights out. So you're counting on options that are all up in the air, and you want to grab the sticks before they fall, kind of thing.
I mean, I thought his stuff was good in that first start, but there's no guarantees.
Right, exactly.
And the biggest problem I still see with this team is offensively. I mean, the lineup is it's hardly big league, to be honest with you. I mean, when you look at the middle of your line, I mean, like Suzuki's been your number 6 hitter.
Today it's Eduardo Nunez hitting 5th again.
As a DH.
Yeah, it's not pretty. You look at last night. I mean, it was a gutty. They gave up runs early. Malone struggled early. Detroit jumped on him.
It's a righty-heavy lineup against a soft-tossing lefty. That's what's supposed to happen.
The squad had they hit. Again, I don't want to get all touchy-feely with a moral victory this or good effort that, but they fought back. They clawed back, and they had their chances. I mean, I believe in the 8th and 9th they left a runner at second base each inning. Did they not? And in the 9th. They had a guy at second base, and Dozier and Hunter were the 2 guys who had a shot
Mauer
to
left
bring him
on
in.
deck.
Yeah,
that's why you got to move him up in the order.
So it's just
I don't like the bunt there. I really don't. Maybe we'll discuss that later in the show, but I don't like the bunt there.
I think too. You get into the lineup discussion, and Molitor's changed it a ton the last probably week and a half. It's almost been a different lineup every day. He's gone back to that opening day lineup here and there, but he's changed it up a lot. And right now, I mean today, for example, but over the course of the past week and a half or so, he's had a lot of utility type guys batting in the lineup in multiple spots, whether it be Eduardo Escobar, Nunez, and Santana, or wherever across the lineup. Today, they're in a situation where they're going up against Anibal Sanchez, who's clearly a better starter than Mike Pelfrey is, but Sanchez has had a rough start to the year, where Pelfrey's had a good start to the year. So you get in that situation to see how does a maybe an underwhelming Twins lineup attack a pitcher that's struggling out of the get-go, and what can they do with it?
Yeah, I think they did well with TJ House in the same situation. So
right.
it's just a matter of taking good at-bats, and some guys are, some guys aren't, and he's got to find a way to kind of figure that out.
Hey, let's get our first break in. It's a Twins Tuesday. We're live at Floyd's in Victoria. We will be, hopefully, each Tuesday throughout the summer, throughout the season, talking Twins baseball with Brandon Warne and Ted Schwetzler. Quick break. We'll be back.
Join longtime radio personality and producer Kelly Guest and friend, CEO of Fantasy Gifts, Colleen Bertino, as they talk about all things sex, men, women. Lend them your ears and learn everything you wanted to know about sex and intimacy. Only here on the Alive and Social Network.
Reach for this one.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back online,
Just turn it on. That took a very PG direction.
along comes this hit show.
I'm constantly burping on stage.
Hey, you heard about Madonna, right?
Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck.
Had she fallen to the ground and her eyes rolled into the back of her head, what would you, Tim Mahoney, have done?
I'd have tried to make out with her.
Nice.
Get in line.
The Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck airs live daily, 9:30 to 10:30 on the Alive and Social Network.
Ever swallowed a bug or choke like Courtney on stage?
Yeah.
Diamond?
Hi, we're back. We're back. Twins Tuesday. Floyd's Victoria. Brought to you by our good friends at Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the Jeff Dubay Show. Coors Light. If it was a Wild Wednesday, co-host Scott Schweitz would be putting him down because that's what he does. I don't mean to insult him. I mean, he throws him down. He loves the Coors Light, and he'll do 2 or 3 during the course of a program. And if anybody want to show up at Bennett's tomorrow, you'll see it firsthand. Tomorrow, Wild Wednesday on the Jeff Dubay Show, live at Bennett's Chop and Rail House on West 7th.
We got your up to the second Aaron Hicks update. Extended his hitting streak to 9 games with a double in the 3rd inning. So everybody get excited about Aaron Hicks just killing it for Rochester right now.
I know you're a huge Hicks guy.
It's not a huge Hicks guy.
He's just
by default. You're by default a Hicks guy.
I just think he is the best of a poor situation right now.
But once he earns it, obviously.
I think he did earn it, though. That's my biggest problem.
In spring training? He was a dickhead in spring training.
But if you want to say he didn't earn it in spring training, they promoted him from AA because of a spring training. This year, they went the opposite way, and even though he tore up double and AAA after he was sent down last season and went through both levels for the first time in succession, they told him because he had a bad attitude in spring training that he needed to go back to a level that he already succeeded at. You're letting a 30-year-old platoon guy that played on good teams, mind you. Shane Robinson was sent down to AAA by the Cardinals because he's a defensive outfielder.
Yeah.
And you're letting Jordan Schaefer, who's been DFA'd multiple times because he brings next to nothing to a major league club, especially not a club that's struggling to get wins.
Tats. He brings tats. He's inked up.
And he's fast, but he doesn't get on base, and he was hitting as a leadoff guy or a ninth batter. I mean, you can't steal first. But Aaron Hicks at least has a ceiling, and he at least is exposing that he can hit the ball at AAA right now. I know we haven't seen that at the major league level, but to off a first-round pick because of 2 bad seasons over...
Well, they didn't release him.
No, but to send him down to AAA and bring a 30-year-old platoon guy and Jordan Schaefer to the major league level, you're doing yourself no favors. None.
I think
well, the one thing you're doing is you're telling a guy, we're not giving you a position. We're not going to let you come here and forget how many outs there are and make this ball club.
But I think you could have taught that emotion or that sentiment at the major league level. You could have sat him on the bench and said, "Hey, figure it out." Well, him hitting for AAA Rochester right now is doing the Twins no good.
And I think what we've seen, though, is this is Paul Molitor's way of taking reign over the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I think you saw it yesterday. In the last couple of days, I had kind of surmised that maybe Oswaldo Arcia was in the doghouse, and that's why he didn't hit last night. I got taken out as a defensive replacement in the last game in Seattle, too. It's worth wondering. Obviously, he's not going to start against Price. The lefty-lefty matchup is just going to carve him up. But when Jabba Chamberlain's out there, even with a lefty warming up in the pen, to not bring Arcia and then not have Arcia hit for Schaefer, I don't know. I think what Molitor's doing,
he's teaching some lessons.
And I think for Hicks, it was more about, okay, you've been so bad in the big leagues that we're going to send you back.
And so stupid in the big leagues. I think that's their biggest problem.
I think that's his bigger problem, too, is that he's stupid than he is bad.
Well, but Arcia has succeeded in the big leagues, and that's why they couldn't justify sending him back.
Well, and he gives some power that they
and they
left-handed, too.
They just didn't really have a viable option for that corner spot that they wanted to go with. I don't think they were going to go with Shane Robinson in left field or right field or whatever.
Twins Tuesday, Floyd's, Victoria, Jeff Dubay, Brandon-Warne, Ted Schwetzler. You guys are both bloggers, writers. Tell people where they can get your stuff.
105 the tickets, cold Omaha, writing stuff pretty much every game day except today I'm off. So that's a good thing.
I think you're dead on.
I see what you mean. Fangraphs website, Rotographs, I write there every Friday. And at brandon_warne on Twitter is probably the best way to find everything I do.
At TL Schwerz on Twitter.
You might want to spell that.
At TLSCHWERZ. There we go.
You were testing him, weren't you?
Yes. Hooked on phonics here. And then offthebaggy.blogspot.com.
And I do my best. I'm not always on social media, but when I am, I do my best to retweet whatever they post. If you guys put if you tag me on Twitter, I see it more quickly and get it retweeted as quickly as possible. So folks who follow me on Twitter at Jeff Dubay, if you're one of the 15,000 strong, then it's not really.
What is it? Is it like
the
team of 18,001?
It's the Jeff Dubay army.
But at least I didn't pander. I'm not one of the people who like do the follow me and I follow you back or whatever, build a false following. These are just people who dig my shit.
You bought all your followers?
No, I haven't spent a dime. I haven't spent a dime. I'm cheap as hell. But if you follow me on Twitter at Jeff Dubay, you'll see Ted stuff. Brandon, you don't tag me very often. If you would tag me, I'd instantly retweet.
You should use different words.
Well, whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean. But if you put at Jeff Dubay on whatever you write,
start doing that.
I'll instantly.
Maybe better at that.
The minute I see it, I'll retweet it. Just ask Ted. I do my best.
Well, I know sometimes you're up 7 a.m. Sometimes you're up 1 a.m. So
I'm telling you, I mean, last night I went to sleep. I finally fell asleep around 5 in the morning. Got up about 2 o'clock this afternoon.
You get that 1 a.m. text that says Jeff Dubay and he wants to break down the bullpen. That's when you know it's real.
I'm telling you, I am a night owl. I've become a big fan of the hours of midnight to 5 a.m. It's quiet. It's nice.
Your idea of 9 to 5 is overnight.
I'm telling you, people. I don't know these people who are these morning people. Oh, I love the morning, the start of a new day. Screw that. I'm trying to swear a little bit less, by the way, because I got a little feedback on social media over the weekend. And, a guy, tried to listen to the show and he can't listen in the car with his kids.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm doing my best. I can't promise that I will never swear because I will come in sometime this fall and be so mad at Matt Khalil that I'll call him a piece of sometimes you just, I don't do it on purpose, but sometimes you're just so mad or so emotional about something, like Matt Khalil getting beaten for 4 sacks and taking 2 holding penalties, that you come in and you call him a piece of shit. You can't help it.
He makes a good pizza, though. You got to give him credit.
What?
That place is amazing.
I was talking about Biology in Maple Grove.
He owns really?
Really good is that you that sent me there?
Yep.
Oh, my God. My wife hates you.
He probably
should have already.
I didn't know that.
It's really good.
It's definitely hurt our bank account plenty.
Huh. And also, I should point out, although it's a little late maybe for folks to show up today, but we're giving away a Thomas Vanek jersey. Very nice. The road white Thomas Vanek jersey.
He's a Twins fan.
We're also giving up, well, he might be. He's been in Minnesota long enough. We got this Twins wind shirt.
Windbreaker.
We got tickets. I mean, we're always giving. Give. So, we like the prizes. We give away the prizes. And I believe we have a jersey we're giving away tomorrow at Bennett's for a Wild Wednesday as well. So just check out the Jeff Dubay show.
Stefan Veilleux, maybe?
No. If it was, I would burn it. He's the most
Curtis
boring
Foster.
hockey player. Jeez,
I just
you know what? Foster was all right until he broke his leg into the end boards
on
that icing call. Yeah, it was. It really was. Guy had a big shot, too. I mean, just a boomer from the point. But back to the topic at hand again. It's a Twins Tuesday. You know what? The Central is looking the part. And I didn't really know what to expect from this division when we were talking about it before the season started. Because Detroit had, well, for one thing, they let Scherzer get away. And I'm a huge Scherzer guy. I mean, he was their best starting pitcher.
Easily.
And they still have, I don't know what to think of the bullpen. I mean, it's lousy, and they've neglected it for years. Now I'll have to claim a little ignorance here and lean on you guys. Is Jabba Chamberlain anything near what he was in his heyday with the Yankees? Because he's a power guy with the live arm, at least in the day, or is he just hanging on? Is he a shell?
No, I wanted the Twins to sign him actually because he was a free agent this offseason. Nobody was interested in him. I think his struggles were overblown a little bit. He still throws pretty hard, still gets strikeouts. You probably want him working closer to the front end of your bullpen than the back end, but he's a valuable, useful arm. He's not the prodigy that he was. But the same deal was with Hughes. The luster was off with Hughes when he left New York too. So to say that either of those guys were cooked, maybe I just didn't respond well to New York.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably not a great thing to be, noted as, but he's obviously one of the best arms in their pen.
Sure.
I mean, without a doubt.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that Joakim Soria was pretty good.
No, he's great. He's great.
And he's definitely filled in admirably for Nathan.
Yeah, they're not going to miss that. I mean, they'll miss Joe Nathan from a depth standpoint because that pushes guys further into the game, and you can maybe throw Jabba Chamberlain in the 7th inning, and you're going to need to shorten games a little bit more in that sense. And with guys like Kyle Lobstein in the rotation, it might be hard to do that. So, I mean,
they're getting good run out the price, though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they're going to have to go find another reliever, though, I think, and they're going to battle Toronto for that. So I think you're going to see guys like Jonathan Papelbon be hotly contested as the season goes on too, and
God, maybe Pelfrey.
Well, Rafael Soriano's still a free agent.
What if, I mean, that's what Terry Ryan is good at, though. Is he'll kind of get it. I don't want to say scrappy guy, but he gets spare parts.
Sam Fuld.
And he'll show you that they have some value, and then he'll turn around and get something.
Like Hector Carrasco into Lou Ford.
Don't you think he'd like to get Pelfrey into that bullpen? Show people that, hey, he's humping it up at 96, 97. He's a good eighth inning guy, and then people are gonna come call him.
I think that's the goal with Tim Stauffer, to be honest with you. 1 year deal. Blaine Boyer, 1 year deal.
Yeah.
And you know what? Stauffer and Boyer, I think, have both been better lately.
Yeah.
They're not world beating, but at the same time, not embarrassing anymore either. I mean, these are two veteran guys, and you knew they weren't going to pitch to 10 ERAs. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, Boyer was atrocious to start the year, and obviously you're going to bounce back from that. I thought I saw Berardino said he hadn't allowed an earned run in his last 6 or 7.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Something like that. So they both turned it around to a certain extent. But yeah, I tend to agree with you that I for sure think Pelfrey is trade bait, but I think that Stauffer and Boyer too are probably guys that they're hoping they can deal for something.
Yeah, I mean, like they did. They pick up a Jordan Schaefer type, and then you hope you flip them later on. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And I think even the goal there might not even be so much as to what you get, but what you gain by getting the roster spot. If you can have those 2 or those 3 guys kind of hold down spots in the bullpen until you have your Jake Reed or Lester Oliveros or Michael Tonkin or somebody like that.
Or the struggling Nick Birdie.
Yeah, or Nick Birdie, who has not looked good out of the gate.
It's been a debacle for him.
Yeah, if you get something like that to step up and then you can deal one of those guys, you don't just have to, make a roster shuffle at that point.
I want to know why I'm getting literally 30 to 50 friend requests a day from prostitutes. I know I'm off topic.
The company you keep.
No, and the thing is, I've done nothing but delete them for months, so I don't know. I'm not on any weird list or anything.
It's like when you turn the light on, the cockroaches scatter.
I mean, on the way out here, driving to Victoria from Cottage Grove, I had 10 prostitute friend requests, and you know who they are because they all have scantily clad
report
pictures.
Them as spam.
Well. Is that what you do?
Yeah.
That's how I got to do it. Because they're all scantily clad. We have no mutual friends. And some of them are just flat out just in underwear in sexual positions. They're prostitutes. So I hit delete all the way down the line. Get rid of 10, 12 of them so all my friend requests are handled. This is about an hour ago. Since then, I've had 20 more. I'm being...
Stuff multiplies.
Dude, I'm being besieged by prostitutes. What is going on Facebook? Do something about the prostitutes.
This is your life, Jeffrey.
But no, it's not. It's really not. I'm not a prostitution guy.
No.
I'm really not into that.
I wasn't trying to go down that road.
I'm not into strip bars either. I mean, if I feel that, dehumanized to have to pay to see a woman naked, I'm sure as hell going to feel even worse if I have to pay to have sex with her. So strippers and prostitutes, go away. Just stop and leave me alone. I'm still working. It's like Costanza always said. I'm not going to pay for something if I can maybe get it for free by applying myself. But he was referring to parking spots. But I mean, it applies.
It's applicable across the board. It's applicable across the board.
Yes, it applies to sex as well. I'm willing to apply myself and put in the time to not have to pay for it. I mean, we'll pay for it one way or another. It's never free.
Oh my
But
gosh.
Jesus Christ, prostitutes, leave me alone on Facebook. All right, let's get back. I have a point.
Yeah.
Well, I can't take it. By the end of the show, I'm going to have 10 more friend requests
guaranteed.
from prostitutes.
Guaranteed.
And they don't want to be friends. So it's really, they're not looking for friendship. So it's really a misnomer. They shouldn't call it friend. Oh, I already have a new one. They shouldn't call it friend request.
Maybe they need mentoring.
Well, they need something, and they're not going to get it from me. But we wondered about Detroit coming into the season. We wondered if they had the bullpen. You guys, and I'm not saying this to mock or ridicule because we all have our opinions going into the season, but neither of you guys were very high on Kansas City. And I tell you what, number one, they're hitting at a crazy high average, and they've still got a lights-out bullpen, and they don't look like they're going to take that step back. I had some questions with the rotation, and there still are some questions.
Still hate the rotation.
But I tell you what, if they're scoring runs, I mean, to get early leads, and they got a bullpen that's holding on to them.
They're one of those some of the parts teams where you got pieces that work together. You got guys with a little speed that can hit a little bit, they can play defense, and you steal those 4-2, 3-2 wins with that bullpen.
Yeah.
And does it remind you at all of the 2002 Minnesota Twins? Or those era Twins that were
really thought about
maybe
it.
not conventionally talented, but the Twins had a ridiculous bullpen with Juan Rincon, and then when they got Joe Nathan, but they weren't conventionally talented with superstars.
We were pretty good at the top of the rotation, though. Didn't we have Santana and Radke?
Yeah, I mean
So,
that's
they're
like
pretty good at the top of the
that's like
rotation.
having James Shields last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I
So,
mean, I don't think Kansas City has like a Santana-Radke combo this
Well, they
year.
have Giordano Ventura, who's okay, but I mean, but at the same time, their bullpen is better than the Twins was too, and so
Sure.
but the Twins played defense, like Torrey Hunter said. What was it? Playing defense and breaking hearts or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
That's right.
That's like their MO right
That's
now.
right. That's what he said.
I think it's interesting too, looking at the Central. Actually looking at all of baseball, the parity of small sample sizes. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people, big name media all the way down, liked the Indians, liked the Mariners. A ton of people love the Nationals. Those teams are kind of on the doorstep, or on the outside looking in their division.
Isn't it bizarre? The Nationals are in last place right now in their division.
They're the third worst team in baseball.
That's just
The
bizarre.
Indians are
They're last.
The Indians are
They're
last.
starting a rookie tonight. You never would have expected that.
Yeah, AJ Cole is going tonight. Yep.
you
The
guys
Indians
are
are
nerds.
last in the AL Central. I mean, baseball in a small sample size is a goofy
Bananas.
thing to look
It's
at.
bananas.
Yeah, it is.
man.
It really is. It really is.
And when you look back on the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever we're through, so the Nationals are what, third worst team in baseball, and they have 6 or 7 wins through 20 games. That's an eighth of the season. I mean, it matters so little.
Let me ask you this: when Sports Illustrated picked the Cleveland Indians to win the World Series this year, was that an attention grab or was that a legit pick?
A little bit of both, actually. The thing is that the AL is absolutely bonkers. There's 10 teams that can win the American League this year, and they just picked one.
And
Tell me, okay, list the teams who cannot. Right now, you guys get together. List me the American League teams that
Minnesota.
cannot win.
I'd say
Houston.
Are we talking the AL? You're
AL,
talking?
American League teams that cannot make the postseason.
Houston,
Texas.
Yep, Texas,
Minnesota.
Minnesota. I would say I don't think Oakland.
Yankees. I would not take the Yankees. That's about it. Those are the 4.
Yeah.
Those are my 4.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow,
I think
that's wide open.
Tampa Bay has been really good with no pitching, staying healthy.
And they're going to get better.
Toronto is scuffling because injuries have hurt them too. But at the same time, I won't rule anybody out in the East.
Hey, you mentioned Tampa, so I got to ask you: are you seeing the Madden influence in Chicago yet?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I think he's hitting the pitcher eighth a little bit. And
Talking about an attention grab, sorry to cut you off.
No.
I feel like that blew me away night one when he did that against the Cardinals. I think that is
He did what? What did he do?
When he bats the pitcher eighth.
Yeah, a lot of guys will do that in the
Really?
National. Some guys will do that in the National League.
I think that's more of an attention grab than there is anything else behind it.
The idea behind it is to have more base runners on for your 2, 3, 4 hitters.
Sure. I mean, you want to have you always want to have speed,
But
in the 9 hole because otherwise it clogs the bases for your leadoff
he also
guy.
started Chris Bryant in center field though
Ugh.
against the Pirates the other day too. So,
After having never played,
so he's
center
done some stuff that is you scratch your head, but if it works, you don't question it.
Hey, how's Bryant swinging the bat since he came up? I haven't paid much attention.
batting close to 400. I think right now
Nice.
he's around 365 or so.
It's
Yeah,
nice,
James
it's nice
Shields
when
made
hype, when hype meets reality, or reality meets hype.
James Shields made him look like a little boy in that first start with that nasty changeup.
Oh,
But since
ridiculous.
Since
Flail.
then, he's been very, very good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yet to hit his first home run, though.
Did he have the inside the Parker? Or was that a triple?
I think he had a triple because I don't think, Addison Russell has definitely struggled out of the gate for them, though.
He has a homer, though.
and you're right.
Yeah.
Wrigley is a train wreck right now.
It's
What
a debacle,
mess.
an utter debacle. I love that word, and that's what it is.
How's it going to look when it's done? Is it going to look decidedly different?
It's not going to be done for so long, though. I think it's not supposed. One side of the bleachers, I think, is supposed to be done by June, and the other side, I don't think, is done until the end of the year, if that.
If it looks drastically different, though, then what are you going for? Because you want that classy, traditional vibe.
Yes.
So it's either a structural thing. It can't be an aesthetics thing. Because
No, I think it was structural. They were trying to update the bleachers. I think the
block off the people that are watching from across the street, or what?
No, just to update them.
Oh.
I think the only thing they did to block off those people was the
Jumbotron,
Jumbotron in
that's
left
right.
field, and that was kind of like giving the roof owners the finger, just
That's
like
so
you
vengeful.
can't mandate us.
Awesome, but vengeful.
Yeah, but I think that's the only thing they
is.
are doing or have done to change the look.
Yeah, and I mean, it's.
It looks tacky too when you look at it because it's just out of place. There's just a scoreboard here, a video board for what reason?
Yeah, your brain just remembers Wrigley the way it was when you first started watching the game, and maybe you can apply that to when you started too. It's just when you change something, it'd be like putting a big video board in Fenway in the Monster, like putting a Daktronics board in the Monster, like embedding it. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I'm just thumbing through some things on ESPN.com. Who do you think right now they consider to be, this is really inside baseball, but who do you think is considered to have the best roster in the minor leagues? Which team?
Oh, yeah, look at that. Well,
it's the Pawtucket Sox, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean,
but they've gotten worse over the last couple of days here because
they brought Bradley up.
Jackie Bradley Jr.
Matt
came
Barnes
up.
has been up and back.
Yeah, well, they brought didn't Betts start the year down there, or did he not?
No. He made the team out.
And Rusney Casillo's still down there. He'll be up eventually.
Yeah, for me, it's weird to see a AAA team be one of those. It's usually a AA team or a single A team because the talent is usually lower, and then a lot of it bypasses AAA. The AAA teams are usually your journeyman Shane Robinson types rather than your Miguel Sano's and Byron.
And was it Law that wrote that piece? I know that we both. Yeah. And he had left Chattanooga completely off that.
There was not a Twins affiliate on there.
Yeah, for the Twins fans that want to.
I think Iowa Cubs were on there.
Yeah.
I would think Chattanooga would have to fit in there somewhere.
They're under 500 right now.
They have a lot of.
That's not the point.
They're very top. I feel like they're very top heavy though. The depth, compared to some of those teams he's listing, the depth on some of those teams is just as good as those top name guys.
How bizarre is it going to be tomorrow? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna have to watch it online just to be able to see it. Chicago White Sox and Baltimore Orioles in a closed stadium, not a single spectator.
So odd.
I'm getting an old wrestling vibe when they used to do the NWO Saturday night with no fans.
I'm gonna have to teach you first row so you can watch whatever game you want. Remember,
I have MLB.TV, so I'll watch it.
Oh, okay.
At work, I'll watch it.
Okay.
We got the
you know how to
vibe.
use first row, right?
I have MLB TV too.
Oh, okay.
I've heard of it. I know what you're talking about. I know.
This is just a pirated version of it.
I saw you brought up Brandon brought up the Rays series this weekend that they're going to play in the White Sox are going to play, or I'm sorry, the Orioles are going to play in Tampa as the home team. Yep. And you were bringing up how weird it will be not having any, in between inning intros.
For me, that was the one game, the White Sox game. I confused the teams,
okay.
But to think about no fans, so there's no between innings promos.
Do you even need an announcer?
Yeah, how weird is that going to be?
Who are you announcing to?
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be bizarre. I got to watch it.
The no crowd.
I got to watch that game.
The no crowd will already be weird enough, but then there's all these secondary things that they're not going to throw T-shirts in the stands. They're not going to play the little games. It's gonna be a weird.
Well, you know why it's going to be cool to watch on TV. Because you will hear everything from the players.
That's what I was just going to say. The game is going to sound different.
You'll hear
nothing there.
I mean, I wonder if there's going to be any allowances that have to be made. Because, there's some foul language.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they might have to. I don't know what the. I mean, I promise
you. Get the Vikings to pipe in some crowd noise?
Well, I promise you that the teams involved are already concerned about, how we're going to sound from our dugout. And they're probably already working with whoever's broadcasting the game to either put it on a little bit of a delay or to not put it. I mean, they could put a mic right in the dugout and you would hear it'd be fascinating.
But MLB.TV allows crowd sound too, so I don't know how that works. Obviously it's not the same because there won't be a crowd, but you can turn the broadcasters off and listen to just the crowd noise. So
it could be great.
It might be something else to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely gonna dial that one up on first row and check it out just to catch the vibe. I'll be interested just to see how that whole thing sounds. Let's take our final break and come back and take it to the top. It is a Twins Tuesday from Floyd's in Victoria.
With Suhan Unfiltered, sports columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Jim Suhan presents in-depth conversations with the best writers and sports personalities in the area. Suhan brings professional journalism flavor without the verbal censoring. Find out what unfiltered really means. Only on the Alive and Social Network. SuhanUnfiltered.com. Legendary Minneapolis-St. Paul sports radio personality Jeff Dubay's energetic sports talk jumps right into the nitty-gritty local sports details you're looking for. No one else is delivering you sports news, current events, and guests with Dubay's gusto. Join him live at any of his bar perches or live streaming Monday through Wednesday only on the Alive and Social Network. Just go to JeffDubayShow.com.
I haven't heard this forever.
I don't like this version. I wish you could get the actual, really good version, but it doesn't seem to exist anywhere.
Well, isn't this the old school, from the 80s? That sounds like the old school version from, 1987. That's back when I was washing jocks. That's what it reminded me of. Looking at some offensive numbers for the Twins.
There aren't many. You're looking at a lot
but
of
you
ones and
remember
twos.
last week I asked you how many guys with more than 9 at bats were hitting 250 or above 250.
It was Joe Mauer and Eduardo Nunez.
Joe Mauer was hitting 250. That was it. Nunez had like 9 at bats, so we weren't even counting him. But you look at the Twins right now. Yeah, Nunez is hitting 421. How many at bats does he have?
20.
Yeah,
19. He's like 8 for 19.
Robinson's hitting 333, but again, not a ton of ABs. Mauer's up to 296, and that's kind of the reason I brought this up, because his stroke, he's coming around. And he's he's getting some good at bats. He's getting some clutch at bats. He's getting hits at the right time. I think Mauer's had a nice couple of weeks.
He started to mix in some extra base hits too. Obviously, that's going to get the slugging percentage up there, and even at his worst, he can hit singles and take walks. And even I think it was a 2010 when he did that, and it was again last year when he struggled. It was the glasses again. Because the Coors Light glasses are just getting
your glasses are
demolished.
just trash. Sorry, Patrick. But
but Mauer last year did basically the same thing he did the bilateral leg weakness season. He still hit singles, he still took walks, and now he seems to be beyond that, which is good because they need him to start moving back towards the guy he was before they moved him off a catcher.
And I think you're going to see, obviously, him level out to a certain extent, too. He's hitting the pole ball really, really
he's
well
pulling
right
the ball
now.
for the first time in his career.
And he's hitting like over 400 pulling the ball, and he's hitting, I think, under 200.
Under 100.
Under 100?
Last
okay.
I checked, yeah.
Going opposite. So obviously that's going to level out some, but imagine if he can keep that pull average somewhere around 300 and get the oppo average around you have Joe Mauer again.
But see, this is what I thought would happen when he became a first baseman. That he would look for more stuff, inner half, middle to inner half. He'd be looking to turn and drive. He'd be looking. I thought he'd become more of a power guy, and more of an extra base guy.
I don't think he was healthy enough to do that last year.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I thought, well, for one thing, I thought he'd add some weight. I don't know that he really has. He looks the same to me as ever. But I thought
average Joe, man.
I thought he'd add a little weight, a little muscle, and try to hit for a little more power, and he still might.
We talked about it on the show a little bit. I thought that he had worked out with somebody in the Twins organization. Maybe it was, I can't remember who it was, but on not yoga, what's the word I'm looking for? Flexibility and his hips and whatnot. So how much of that this offseason, him being able to rotate through the ball and stay healthy because of extra added flexibility, is helping him to pull the ball too? I mean, that's getting around on a baseball and driving your hips through the strike zone.
Yeah. By the way, he tied Kent Herbeck for third all time on the Twins all-time doubles list on this past road trip.
We went ahead of him yesterday.
Oh, did he? So now he's number 3 all
he
by
hit a double
himself.
last night at the end of the game.
Very nice. Who would 1 and 2 be on that list? Do we know?
Killebrew and probably Puckett.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Although Puckett's career wasn't that long, it makes you wonder. But nonetheless,
84 to 96. It was both the same length as Mauer. So
yeah,
far.
I guess that makes sense. So the Twins, let's see, they've got Detroit. You guys got the schedule handy. They're home for Detroit right now.
Chicago and then Oakland before they go on the road again.
So it's a nice long homestand.
Yeah, it's 11 games. It's I think the longest one of the season.
And they've been really lucky with weather. Again, no makeups on the schedule yet, and that's a big deal. I mean, those makeups they really mess with the team. Mess with your travel plans. Sometimes you got to fly into a city to play a single freaking game. I mean, it can really be a pain in the ass.
the Dodgers or the Mets 2 years ago, and maybe the Dodgers last year.
Yeah, it can really be a hassle. Not to mention, it could wreak havoc with your pitching staff. So an underrated boon for the Twins to this point in the season. No makeups on the schedule. And they were home for a gorgeous weather homestand last time. They went on the road and we had frickin' snow, and then they come back and. I'm not saying it's perfect, but right now
it's baseball weather, though.
Yeah,
I mean, you can put a baseball in this.
It's mid-60s, or it's a low 60s right now. It's a little overcast and a little breezy, but they're getting their games in, and they're getting them in under some pretty reasonable conditions. Nothing to complain about there. And hopefully it's a long homestand. Obviously things can change. And that reminds me, you said Chicago and then Oakland. We're about to give away a couple of tickets to an Oakland game here. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's for a week from today, next Tuesday. Twins and the Athletics at Target Field. And before we're done here, sometime in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we got a drawing. Yeah, it's one of those be present to win kind of deals. But we got a pretty decent crowd here at Floyd's in Victoria that are eagerly awaiting to see who wins a pair of tickets to see the Twins and the A's. You've been to the stadium a few times. What have the crowds been like?
Kind of subdued, but not too terribly bad. Obviously, they're a little more encouraging than they've been the last couple of years because the team's playing a little better than they have the last couple of years. But again, it's still early, but pretty sparse just because the school's still in too, I think.
Yep.
That's a big thing.
I think what you touched on too just there too is that weather helps in Minnesota. I mean, if you have good weather, Target Field kind of draws just as a landmark on its own. So as long as it's nice out, people will head to games. But I was surprised with what they were coming off of, the atmosphere for opening day. I know that we touched on that after the opening day show, but just to see those contests, being as competitive and as well viewed and received as it has been in the early going has been nice.
And they're still playing at a pretty good pace too, aren't they? I mean, time-wise. I mean, they had a 2-hour game the other day,
which is
Seattle.
Weird because I thought that I heard somewhere that Molitor had mentioned, or maybe it was Terry Ryan had mentioned, that Manfred has reached out to the Twins too many times, and I guess he wasn't being sarcastic. So the comment after that was...
What is he, he's the time czar, or what?
Well, the fact that he's the one that levies all the suspensions and fines or whatever.
Yeah,
you're going over the clock.
The pace of play.
So then the next comment was, what's the Red Sox and Yankees at? So if the Twins are playing 2.5-hour games and getting yelled at, how is everybody else doing?
It's like, boy, you sure like to pick on the weaklings, don't they?
Yeah.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I guess they must be looking at some details, like how long your pitchers take on the mound.
It's got to be more nitpicky stuff because it can't be game.
Your guys stepping out of the box.
Yeah, it can't be game length.
I mean, they played a 2-hour and 3-minute game on Friday in Seattle.
They've been flying.
Yeah.
And that was a game that Hughes went complete game, right?
Yep,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, Hughes, they both did. I think Felix went the distance too.
Yep. And they lost, 2-0?
2-0 on two solo jacks.
So another game where Hughes got no offense.
Yeah.
But
He's had no luck. When you pitch against, the Twins are offensively challenged to begin with. But when you're on the mound and you're going against Price, Sale, and King Felix, there's not a lot of margin for error. There's not a lot of margin for error there. You're not going to get a lot of support.
He finally gets a break tomorrow. I can't remember who. I don't have service now, but I can't remember who is after Sanchez. But he finally gets the Tigers' third starter, so he has a good one to win tomorrow.
Good, and he hasn't been pitching badly at all. I mean, he's 0-4, but he started out 0-4 last year too.
And with a much higher ERA.
Yeah, and he's not throwing it badly at all, and he's not traditionally a fast starter.
He's a California kid.
You ready to give away some tickets here, Patrick?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we got the so this is a must-be-present-to-win deal, right? We got all the people here.
It's the Bannock jersey, 3 weeks. You'll be able to enter the next 3 Tuesdays.
Wait a second, what are we giving away right now?
We're giving away the tickets.
Okay.
So the Bannock jersey you can enter for the next 3 weeks.
Okay, and people, how did people enter to get the Bannock jersey? By retweeting?
Fill out the name and email. In the bucket.
In the bucket. All right, here we go. Pair of Twins tickets to Oakland. Twins Oakland next Tuesday. Jesus, I can't read that. What does that say? Porky?
Polly.
Polly?
Polly. Is there Polly?
Is there a Polly here?
No.
What the hell does that say?
We'll find her.
I have no idea. Is it Pokey? Is that what it says? All right. Have him. What's his phone number? His phone number's written down there.
300. Last four. 7237.
Booyah.
You got it. Way to go, Pokey. Have fun at the ball game next Tuesday. Hopefully you get some good weather for that. Way to go, Pokey. But Pokey's got fans. Pokey's got people here. Attaboy, Poke. I don't know what it is about him, but it doesn't really look like he's got that much going for him, to be honest with you. But the folks here dig him. The folks at Floyd's dig Pokey. But, all right, whatever. I'm not going to try to figure it out. I'm stumped. I don't know what it is, but congratulations to Pokey. We will be here every Tuesday. We'll be giving away prizes. We give away Twins tickets. We give away... Okay, Patrick, if people want to win the Bannock jersey, should they show up at Bennett's tomorrow and get their name in the...
we're going to enter here in Bennett's. Yeah, for the next 3 weeks. You can also...
For 3 weeks.
Figure out a way to incorporate social media.
For the next 3 weeks. For the next 3 weeks, if you come to Floyd's in Victoria on Tuesday while we're here, or to Bennett's on West 7th when we're there for Wild Wednesday, all you got to do is put your name in the box to win this Vanek jersey. It is an official Reebok home white Vanek name number. It's a nice looking jersey. I'm staring at it right now. So we got some great giveaways if you want to stick around. Come to Floyd's on Tuesdays for Twins Tuesdays. Come to Bennett's on Wednesdays for Wild Wednesdays. Both shows, I believe, are going to settle into like a 5:30 start time. It's kind of how it looks like it's going to be. So, Ted, we got any closing thoughts from you here as we look at the week that will be or the week that was?
I think best case scenario before we come back next Tuesday is to try and get one here from the Tigers. I don't know if it's going to happen tonight, but I think we can try and get one on Wednesday, and then try and take that series from Chicago over the weekend. We'll be talking Tuesday before the second game of the A's series, so we don't need to get into that one yet. But I think if they can split these next two series, they'd be in a good spot.
We're looking at what it is, a 9-game stand? 9 games? So it's like
it was 11 total, so I think we're at, what would it be, 3, they have 8 left, including tonight.
Wow. Okay, so if it's 11 total, let's get out of here with at least 6 or 7, huh?
Yep.
That'd be nice.
Yep.
I mean, 7 might be lofty, but at least let's get out of here with at least 6.
Well, they took the series from the Mariners, so to come back.
But that was on the road.
Yeah, but to come in with that momentum, carry it through. So.
Yep. All right, well, that's going to do it for Twins Tuesday. Thanks again to Coors Light. Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the Jeff Dubay Show. Really grateful to have him on board. I'm looking forward to a wild Wednesday tomorrow with my co-host Scott Schweitz. We'll put on a Coors Light drinking exhibition, as he is wont to do. Thanks to Ted Schwetzler and Brandon Warne. You want to plug your blog again, Ted, before we go?
At TLSCHWERZ on Twitter and offthebaggie.blogspot.com.
And I know Brandon, you can find his stuff on Twitter at brandon_warne. That's WARNE. Or else just check out my Twitter feed at Jeff Dubay. I try to retweet both guys' stuff whenever I have the opportunity. Thanks. What's your last name? Sorbo? Sorbo. One more time?
Sarber.
Okay, well, whatever that was. That's why. He's our new engineer, new producer, helping us out here, making things sound good, spinning the knobs and the dials. Thanks to Scott O'Malley. Thanks to Brandon Warne. Thanks to Ted Schwetzler. For Floyd's in Victoria. And for our friends at Coors Light, I'm Jeff Dubay, and this has been a Twins Tuesday.